Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. It's been a while since I've made a video. I got married in late September, and you can see the ring. Not going to go into a long story, but then soon after I actually misplaced the ring. It fell underneath the sink in my bathroom underneath the part of the shelving. It's a long story, but it took me 3 weeks to figure out where it was. But anyway, I would recommend anyone who's planning on having a wedding to definitely expect it to be a lot more expensive and spend a lot more time than they'd anticipate unless they get a wedding planner and have the money to do that. But spending 2 years planning this thing, and just an estimation, I haven't done all the calculations and stuff, but $10,000 or $11,000, that's all you need to know. You know, it's one thing when your fiance then wife is in grad school and stuff like that, and then is just not able to find that job yet, so you end up paying for a lot. But yeah, that's why I've been sort of not doing videos the last couple months. It's like mid-September. As far as, I'm going to show some vinyl and some stuff I picked up, and talk about plans for videos in the future. But let's see here. One thing was I did not go to the Deer Hunter concert. I did not go to Warpaint, or I did not go to Local Natives. But I did go to Chicago to see Marillion, the second of two shows, and I was there the Friday night of the Game 3 of the first World Series game in Chicago since 1945. So anyway, that's kind of leads me to what I'm going to show here. I'm just going to kind of go. So I've picked up some items in the last few months, although given my budgetary restrictions and trying to focus on paying for stuff like the wedding. Then I just got a new car that I'm now working on getting payments and still trying to figure out what's going on with my old car. I haven't bought that much music. Here and there, there's stuff that I still plan to buy and order. But I have bought a few things here and there, pre-orders and that kind of stuff. But this actually was not a pre-order. But I did buy the new album from the Deer Hunter, Act 5, Hymns with the Devil and Confessional. And as I just mentioned, I did not actually pre-order this one. It's the first time since probably Act 2. It's Act 3 and I did pre-order Act... I can't remember what I did with Act 4. But I pre-ordered the Color Spectrum and Migrant too. So it's the first release, and I just ended up buying this from a guy on eBay from the U.S. who ended up getting... I don't know, I know people from the Pledge Music, unfortunately, did not... Some of them haven't received their package, their bundles. There were like about 7 or 8 different bundles and packages and stuff like that. But it's a cool looking vinyl. Just, of course, I always struggle with this, or not always, but usually. White or cream and blue. And this is what the little sticker is. It says, white and blue, 180 gram vinyl, first pressing, limited to 1,000 copies. But yeah, there was other packages that came with a lot of other stuff. But I just, after some less than, desirable situations with pre-orders and stuff, not just with the Deer Hunter, but I'm just kind of being careful what I pre-order and what I don't, to an extent. I decided not to. They're not, as I'm merch now, I believe it is, and I guess I found out that the Deer Hunters, this is the last album they're going to release on Equal Vision, or as part of Equal Vision. It's Cave and Canary, but it's, as you can see, it's part of Equal Vision. Just a brief, let me just also show this. The fact I did not go to the concert in September to see them, unfortunately. They were selling the Act 1 graphic novel that Casey and Alex Dandino did. As you can see, this is a lyric sheet, and then it comes with a little short story, I guess. I don't know if the CD, I don't have the CD yet, although I finally have a CD player in my car after driving the current car, a previous car that I had for 16 years. Only had a tape deck and a radio. I could now listen to music in my car on CD, and I have listened to this album here and there. I mean, obviously the singles that came out. It's a cool gatefold, by the way. But, and there's a lot of praise for it, and a lot of people that loved Act 4 love this album as much, or almost as much, if not more. And I have not been able to, based on all the stuff I've done, I have to deal with work. I mean, it came out, it was released a couple weeks before my wedding, but I listened to some of the singles. My favorite song probably is the song Light, that ballad, acoustic ballad. It's got a great melody. The singles Gloria, the earliest songs, The Revival, are both good. The Most Cursed of Hands slash Who Am I, kind of a suite of sorts. Uses changes tempo and changes mood midway through. Mr. Usher, I think The Flame, which is gone, The Fire Remains, which references like Act 1 and I think almost all the acts reference that. At least Act 1 and Act 2. I think it's A Beginning though, or Blood. The last epic piece where he talks about the apparition at the end, that is definitely a standout part of this record. But I really like it. I just haven't spent enough time with it to fully. I mean, Act 4 I'm still sort of somewhat digesting. I've been listening to that in my car actually. So, but I'm not sure where I would put this. I'm not sure I'd put this ahead of any of the other acts other than maybe Act 4 at this point. But again, I'm still taking it in. And it certainly will be among my favorite records, I assume, when I finally put out my end of year list in a few weeks, as my year just ended on Halloween. So, but yeah, I want to get one of those graphic novels at some point too. I know they were limited printing, but they're gonna put them out again. There's gonna be another issue of them, or another run of them sometime next year. That's what the plan is. So, but yeah. So yeah, if you're a fan of Act 4, especially, I think Act 5, Hymns of the Devil and Confessional, there's an acronym for that, would be HWTDIC. Maybe not. So, alright, so the other album that came out, the big album for me, especially in September, besides like Warpaint and Local Natives, I'm still going to be looking for the new Warpaint record eventually, is of course Marillion's album, Fear Everyone and Run, or Fuck Everyone, Fuck It Fear, Fuck Everyone and Run. And like the Deer Hunter album, Act 5, I have listened to it, but not to great detail, or not a ton of times to really say, you know, I know it that well. Just a standard, isn't this like a standard black vinyl? Yeah. But it's people are saying that it's their best record since Marbles, which I can agree with to a point. Because I think I'm warming up to it, and I got more moments I enjoy from it than from Sounds That Can't Be Made, or from Happiness Is the Road, or from somewhere else. I guess as a whole, although the way this album is structured, you can see this is the third and fourth side. It's whatever, 3 big sweet epics and then 2 other songs. It's a little different kind of listening experience, I guess. My favorite among the 3 of everything on the record, probably, and my favorite of the 3 suites would be the Levers. That piece, the movement, the jumble of days, I think that I get the biggest goosebumps. The Rothery guitar work is just amazing on there. Just the New Kings also has a few moments. I get like things in my head, like there's a part where toward the end, like maybe it's a Scary Sky, I can't remember what part it is, where I could hear more music coming from that train of sort of the chord progression and the tone that especially with Rothery. It's a very political record, and I mean, people are comparing it to Marbles and Brave. I would compare it to almost more so, I mean, a little bit like Gaza from Sounds That Can't Be Made, but I don't think Gaza to me was hit and miss, and it kind of dragged and kind of overstayed its welcome. El Dorado, the Levers, and the New Kings, none of those pieces at this point for me I've found overstay their welcome. Cool artwork, of course. And it's bleaker and very kind of not downtrodden, but it's talking about class, sides of class, and looking down upon the upper class. Some of that reminds me of Brave, but not in the sense that it's more political, I guess. The Brave isn't highly political; it's more social. But this is a more ambitious record, certainly, than any of their recent records. Even I thought Happiness, because it was a double record, had a lot, but almost too much. Even though the greatest moments were great, I think more for just ambition, this record might stand out than, I don't know how down the road if it will have the staying power that Marbles has had. But, you know, I'd say, you know, if Marbles is in the top 4 or 5 Marillion records, it's probably going to end up, you know, a few years from now ranking them in like top 10 for sure. Well, probably. You're talking about your favorite band here. So, and while I did see them in Chicago, like I said, at the River, I also got the CD here at the Vic Theater. Just a few blocks from Wrigley. I have some clips, not of the show, just outside, but it's more of just my trip. I didn't do a lot of video, unfortunately. they didn't have a lot of merch, which is the same thing that happened in 2012, unfortunately. But so I just picked up the CD after having the vinyl. I didn't actually have the vinyl, as you can see. And there's some, I don't know, I need to look at that again, but I think some of the artwork is different because it's more extensive. I mean, if you get like the extensive pre-order book deluxe bundle deal, people paid well over $100 for it, you probably get this artwork blown up. I wasn't, again, when you're saving for a wedding, you don't really quite have the money to shell out to get something that extensive, so I just got the CD and the vinyl. I don't know, I thought the guys signed it, but maybe not. You know, I did not want to lug that thing to Chicago and have them sign. I did see some of the guys, but I did pick up the Marillion Unconventional documentary that came out a couple years ago. That I had the DVD, but this is on Blu-ray. And I don't have a Blu-ray DVD player, a Blu-ray player right now, unfortunately, but my DVD got some scratches on it. I think it's right there, actually. Yeah, here it is, as you can see. And unfortunately, the condition is definitely... The case seems like it's fine, but I don't even know if this thing is highly playable anymore, because I could be wrong. I may be thinking of a different DVD. Anyway, once I get it... We got the wife, who loves the Monkees, of course. We picked up the Monkees Blu-ray box set that just released, which took forever, got delayed for like 6 months, but so we haven't been able to watch that either. This, of course, the Blu-ray. Once I get a Blu-ray DVD player, that will have to happen. So, all right, one other piece that I picked up, or not one other piece, another piece that I picked up was like a week or two after the wedding, and we went thrift store shopping, something like that, and the wife wanted to. I said, you know, I wanted to go shopping for something I want, so we went to Cheapo. Even though I'm still kind of watching my budget right now. I did find this. It's a copy of Porcupine Tree's EP from 2007, Nil Recurring, which I really do like. And of course, and actually I saw there a copy on vinyl of Fear of a Blank Planet, an album that I don't really like that much, and I find more to be overrated than being just, you know, a record that's bad. I actually think some of the stuff that I heard Steven play live was sounded better. I think he played, I want to say, My Ashes, and I think, yeah. So, and of course you get the K-Scope insert and Steven Wilson solo stuff. But yeah, I just this is a great EP. I remember it wasn't originally released in the US. I got like a promo at Cheapo back in 2007, but eventually it did get some distribution, just on CD. The song, like Normal, which sort of, I think is better, I think pretty much everything on this album is better than Fear of a Blank Planet, even anesthetized, but Normal, of course, reprises and uses the melody and sentimental better to me. Nil Recurring. I haven't listened to this EP in many years, but it's like 25 minutes, but I've contended that this is better than basically the whole Fear of Blank Planet album. I find Fear of Blank Planet to be one of the most overrated things that Steven Wilson's and Porcupine Tree ever did. I think I mentioned that in the Porcupine Tree artist review video, or videos, so a couple other quick items. John Wesley, who actually played with Porcupine Tree for a while, although I don't think, maybe the second time, in 2005 he was here, but he was on with them as a guitarist, a second guitarist on a number of tours that didn't come to Minnesota, of course. But he opened for Marillion in 2004, and he did a great version of Run Like Hell from Pink Floyd, an acoustic version, singer-songwriter kind of thing, 'cause that's what he kind of is. But his new album, it's called A Way You'll Never Be, John Wesley, not John Wesley Harding, has gotten a lot of good reviews, and that drummer guy, a friend of mine, has a radio show and does interviews and stuff like that. He interviewed him, and they were talking a lot about this as being more electric. But he opened, and like I mentioned with the Marillion show, there wasn't a lot of merch, but he opened for Marillion at the show in Chicago, and a lot of this U.S. tour they're on right now. And what's on here? And yeah, he was pretty good. I mean, I'm not really. I've never been like floored by his music, but I know his music mostly has been like acoustic singer-songwriter type stuff. I mean, for the most part, he's somewhat technical of a guitarist, I guess, but maybe in sort of the, I don't know, Steve Morse, or I don't know who you'd compare him to exactly. Anyway, this is supposed to be more electric. I haven't listened to it. There was a lack of merch, and I had money. I was like, I'm gonna buy something else. And I met John Wesley outside the show beforehand, and it was just him though playing by himself. He had like bass and drum track sequence, and maybe even some keyboards. But it would be cool to see him with a full band, but for budgetary reasons, I know you understand why he didn't have that. So, yeah, I don't know where it's going to fall, where I'll be on my list probably, but, given the fact that I haven't even listened to it, I want to start working on that list now since my cutoff date is Halloween. And I'll talk about that just in a minute. So, the last sort of physical items I'm going to talk about and show from the band Revere. Revere is this British band that I looked it up just a little while ago, and they formed in 1995, but their first album, full-length album, didn't even come out until about 2007, 2008, something like that. I don't want to be wrong about that. I remember, let me just look it up again. Remember hearing about them from this guy on the Pure Reason Revolution fans message board. Actually, it was 2010. They put out a live album, live at Union Chapel in 2008, but they put out like singles and stuff like that. They're a little bit like Arcade Fire. I don't like Arcade Fire, but I like them. Their singer almost sounds a little bit like the guy from Beirut, the lead singer. I think it's Steven from Revere. But anyway, they did like a pledge music campaign. I want to say for their last full length album, or it might have been for an EP. I can't remember what it was for. They put out Hey Salim in 2010 and My Mirror Your Target. It might have been for My Mirror Your Target. I don't remember. But they just put out an EP earlier maybe a couple months ago, maybe last summer 2016, called Man of Adam. And from their pledge music, they sent me a letter thanking me for all the stuff I've talked about on the blog. You have always been so supportive of us. We want to thank you for being something partial to Revere's history, whatever, part of Revere's history. All the best from Steven. And part of my contribution to the pledge music, I believe, was the set list they signed, or Steven signed, and looks like someone else, one of the other members. Keep This Channel Open is the one track I probably remember the best. Man of Adam. So it's a lot of the Man of Adam EP songs. It's from 2015 in Lexington, which I'm not sure where Lexington is specifically, but yeah, they came up around this. I mean, they started showing up and talk when Ryan, my friend Ryan, he's known as Man of Adam. I don't know if the name of this new EP they released, as you can, Steven signed it, was inspired by his name. I thought it was a screen name, at least on Twitter for a while, his Twitter handle. But anyway, they broke up, unfortunately, after, I guess 21 years. But they outlasted in some respects, like Oceansize and Pure Reason Revolution, and the only one that's sort of in that group that sort of came around of that similar generation might be Archive from the UK. But anyway, they were a great band. I never obviously got to see them live, but sort of chamber rock. I put them in that category of like your Anathalos and Margot and Nuclear So-and-Sos and Typhoons. I mean, they're not maybe as excessive with the instrumentation. And their second album, My Mirror Your Target versus Hey Slim, their first album, their second album has more like electronic sides and more textures, I guess. But they're a great band. Rest in peace. Be curious to see what some of the members, Steven and the other members of Revere, they had like 7 people in the band, end up doing. But Ryan, Man of Adam, actually did videos for them, and I think he did besides promotion, he did some other stuff, maybe the artwork. I'm not sure. So anyway, let's try to wrap this up quickly. And I'm going to make one other video and talk about the Rock Hall. But so I'm looking forward to doing end of year lists, of course. And of course, the way my year works, it started in November of 2015, so the albums that came out then are still eligible. Stuff like Mute Mass, Vitals album, and the Sicketh EP or mini album Opus Cities. But yeah, hopefully I can get that going. My goal would be probably early December. Maybe I'll be able to do it before even Thanksgiving, because I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have just knowing my schedule and stuff, and then I'll make a video and do the write-up. Probably more likely I'll make the list, put the artwork up, and as far as write-ups go, I always try to say just do the Twitter length blurb, and I always do more. I might just do blurbs for like the top 15 or 20, and a lot of the records, I was thinking about this like 2013 specifically, and maybe 2014 to a point, were records that I haven't fully been addicted to. There's been a few here and there the first 6, 7, 8 months this year, but especially since the wedding activity and my work activity and all the overtime and stuff, and just listening to a lot of podcasts and especially ripping YouTube recordings, the audio, I just haven't listened to as much music. Painted in Exile's debut album just came out a little over a week ago. I haven't even listened to it. I downloaded it. I downloaded it when I was in Chicago. I did stay at an Airbnb, by the way. If you've never done Airbnb and you can't get a hotel or just don't like hotels, don't trust hotels, definitely look into Airbnb. It's kind of like Uber, but for hotel. You stay at like a condo or an apartment or a house instead. So, but I'm gonna do a preview video for 20. I'm really looking forward to 2017, 2017, or 2017 as a whole. A lot of stuff's been pushed back, of course. That was in anticipation. I mean, November is going to have Metallica and the Neil Morse album that Mike Portnoy has been talking about extensively. But I mean, stuff like Clip 1918, Sculpture, and I'm wearing the Agalock shirt, of course. Rest in peace. What was the other one? Oh, Blackfield and Pain of Salvation. All those albums were going to come out maybe this year, and they're coming out next year. And there's a bunch of other albums. 22, I assume. The Reign of Kindo's doing some sort of Patreon. Their record will officially probably come out in 2017. So there's a lot. And I'll obviously elaborate on a lot of that stuff for that video and in that entry. But and I did post that entry a couple weeks ago. But thanks for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. Just tell me what you picked up recently. Are you putting on a list? Or just your top 5, 10 albums from 2017, or 2016 rather, and what you're looking forward to in 2017. Thanks for any new subscribers, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.